afternoon. Welcome to another installment of Old Men Yell at Cloud. I am your host this week, Patrick, and joined as always by our other hosts, Jim Schultz.
I'm either having indigestion or a heart attack.
Yeah, that's great. And Christopher Brown.
Could be gout.
That's
Could
true.
be.
What do you got?
Gout in my lungs? That's awful.
Yeah, lung gout.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible these days.
That's the name of my punk rock band.
Lung gout?
Lung gout.
Hey, doctor, I got a lung gout. If you said that to a doctor, I wonder if he would think you were from Long Island and you had a lung removed.
You know, lung gout with your lung gout. Or
Yeah.
rock out with your lung out. Anyway, joining us tonight is a very dear friend of mine, bass player for a few different acts around Boston and the North Shore, one of which being DAEVES, another one being Bears for Years, and Smell and Gremlins, although that doesn't exist anymore. He is named Matt Ohanian.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's fun to hear it all listed out. It makes me sound much busier than I actually am.
Yeah, you know, I try to lie when I can. Try to, or not lie, just sort of beef up the truth,
Yeah,
so to
thank
speak.
you.
Beef
Appreciate
up
it.
the truth.
Anyway, we are here tonight talking about The Color of Spring, which is the third studio album by English band Talk Talk, released in February 1986 on EMI. It was recorded at Battery and Videosonic Studios in London and produced by Tim Freese Green. Those are two E's, an E at the end of each name, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah, good stuff. Musically, The Color of Spring was a major step away from the synthesized pop of early Talk Talk, who at this point attained considerable success with tracks like It's My Life and Such a Shame 2 years prior. The arrangements on The Color of Spring showcased greater focus on guitars, pianos, and organs on songs like Life's What You Make It, Living in Another World, and Give It Up. It had a sound described by the band as much more organic than their earlier records, with the improvisation that was to dominate on their later works already apparent in this recording process. This album, along with its two successors, Spirit of Eden and Laughingstock, are often cited as extremely influential in the realms of pop, electronica, and post-rock. And that's all I got to say about that.
You brought it back.
I did. Yeah, we're feeling nostalgic.
Hello, I'm Tim Freese Green.
That's exactly what he sounds like.
I assume so. With a name like that, I feel like you have to talk like a kind of like a creepy lord.
Yeah, I'm thinking after, he produced Laughingstock, he definitely turned into some sort of Gollum-esque creature.
But within nobility. So he's kind of like, picture Gollum if he was like a baron and he had a mansion and a staff. So he just kind of like crawls around his mansion, like maybe like on walls. I don't know how nimble his fingers are. But yeah, maybe he just crawls around and he has servants that attend to him.
It just sounds like Smeagol has affluenza or something. That's how he became the disgusting, abhorrent beast that he is today.
Man, imagine if affluenza could do that too. If you turn into some like hairless little like frog being that has sort of like translucent skin and crawls around like places that people normally can't crawl.
Yeah, just give the Kardashians another couple of years.
Oh wow, that's hot.
Yeah. That's definitely not low-hanging comedy fruit right there.
This guy Patrick, he doesn't care what he says. He'll say anything.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I speak my mind. Freeze peach is all I'm about, I guess. Well,
Yeah,
why don't we talk?
Frog people.
I agree. Why don't we go around the horn and talk about our favorite
Is
tracks?
it really that time already?
Yeah, why not?
We
Well,
haven't spewed enough bullshit yet.
well, we have plenty of time to spew bullshit.
Okay.
Plenty of time. We can sort of just stick it, just sort of sprinkle the shit here and there. It'll give it a nice texture.
Yeah, and when we front load, like we end up kind of cruising through the end bits that are actually
Yeah.
like related to the topic at hand. Not that we won't delay along the way and end up doing the same exact thing, but I don't know. I don't think we should challenge ourselves right off the bat.
Yeah, that's very true. That's fair. So on that note, Jim, what was your favorite track?
My favorite track is going to be I Don't Believe in Fake News. Or I Don't Believe in You. I like this one because it had a kind of post Roger Waters, Pink Floyd, David Gilmour feel to it. I felt like.
I heard that too, for sure.
Yeah,
With the rhythmic delays, and it just like there's like a reverbed out like Gilmour-esque solo that happened, and yeah.
Yeah, and it was certainly bolstered by some good old-fashioned Steve Winwood organ.
Oh, that's very true. Which I didn't even know that until I looked at the credits tonight.
3 songs he plays on.
Yeah,
That's almost 50% of this album contains Steve Winwood playing organ, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, he must have had a contract with the MI or something like that. Get him like 3 for the price of 1 or something. I don't know. Yeah, I love that track. That's the song I think that when I was first getting into this record was the one that like really pulled me in. It's got it just has that like really simple like driving acoustic chords and everything that are just like super tasteful and like really well sort of spread out, and yeah, it's got a great melody to it, very kind of torch songy, and yeah, just one of those songs you want to throw on when you're not having a great day. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Could be both. Thanks for keeping it real, Jim.
Always. They call me Real Jim.
Real Jim. All right.
As opposed to that fake one.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really
He's
good.
out there. There is a fake Jim. We've run into
He's
each
causing
other a
all
few
sorts
times.
of trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be great if it was Tim. Like Tim Freese Green.
Hello, I'm Jim Freeze Green. I have left my enormous manse in the countryside to come to Attleboro.
Attleboro.
My favorite was Living in Another World. Was good. It opened up side 2 with a little pep in its step, which is always a good thing. There was kind of a lot going on in the song, and this led me to look into the liner notes and see who was playing what. And I was actually kind of surprised. It reminded me a little bit of when we were talking about Asia, the Steely Dan album, how one of those fellas didn't really play a lot on the album. And Mark Hollis actually didn't do a lot instrumentally on this album, which is interesting, because I always kind of assumed he was a control freak type who would be like really have his hands dirty with as many different things as possible. But
No, I was actually surprised to see that too, that there were more session players. I think he plays more guitar on the subsequent records. I can't recall off the top of my head, but basically the big shift from the last record to this one was they lost their guitarists. Like they misplaced him or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They haven't found him since.
They didn't. Okay, that's concerning.
They did check Lost and Found.
Are they down in?
Before you already ask?
Are
okay?
they down in Kim Thale's basement? We discussed, Kim Thale's.
Maybe they could call
guitar riff
1-800-876-5353 and let Unsolved Mysteries know if that.
Oh, I thought that was the giant glass commercial.
1-800-588-2300 Empire.
Oh, right. No.
I think
That's
it's
free advertisement, guys.
I think it's Unsolved Mysteries, which I have not watched in a couple of decades at least.
But you remember the number miraculously, like
800-876-5353. Yeah, 1-800-876-5353.
yeah. Cool. Well,
Cool.
call it
Well,
up.
I remember
give it a
that.
ring.
I remember that instead of like math, which is very good.
That's technically a math problem.
The Unsolved
It's an
Mysteries
arrangement
number?
of numbers. I mean, it doesn't solve a formula, but it might save a life.
It might.
Service on this number has been suspended. Your call is now being disconnected.
I'm sorry, there's been a temporary problem processing your request.
Oh, I think you got to dial the 1 first.
No, that was legit. It said it was disconnected. It said it was no longer in service.
Oh.
And then they said they couldn't process your request, which was to disconnect, right?
I guess so.
Oh, yeah, I think with 800 numbers.
So
you
is
gotta
it still
dial 1.
connected?
It is not. No, I hung up.
Okay.
I ended the phone call. But I actually, that's interesting. Hold on.
Phone service on this number has been suspended. Your call is now being disconnected.
I'm sorry, there's been a temporary
call.
problem processing your request.
Thank you for staying on the line.
Did you call Satan?
What is going on?
Oh, we gotta speed that up when this is done.
Yeah. Oh, that's fucked up. That is actually fucked.
We are now all cursed.
Oh my God, that was worth it.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is the beginning of a Stephen King novel right here. The
Yeah.
Podcasters.
Christopher was an ordinary boy.
Yeah, I'll be
Until he
first to
dialed
die
the
for sure.
1-800 numbers.
Ugh. So when do we all have sex in the sewer?
I think we're all too old for that, according to Stephen King.
You're right. He's gotta try some new shit out. Matt, what was your favorite track?
I think the album started super strong and kind of like introduced. So, what's the first song? Happiness.
Happiness is Easy.
Is easy, which so easy. And I think it just like introduces the like studio tricks and like it gives you all these like little tastes, and the bass is crazy and
Yeah.
comes in a really cool way. So it just stuck out and kind of like I didn't know if that's what I would expect from the rest of the album, like that level of experimentation and sort of like acoustic guitar kind of like coming in for just a little flourish here and there, and just cool studio stuff, I thought.
Word.
I also really appreciated the just like emotionless, dead-souled British school children singing along in that song.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
Just no emotion to it whatsoever. Just
Yeah, that was the first time that I kind of like got a Pink Floyd
yeah.
connection. Was like, oh, that's kind of sounds exactly like what. But it's just a strong song, I think, overall.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that's definitely my favorite
into it.
track as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it was a toss-up between that or I Don't Believe in You, but I'm with you on that where it just has such a strong, commanding open, and I remember like listening to this album for the first time. It was actually on headphones, and it was just really cool to take in this arrangement that really for 1986 is like actually not terribly over the top with like studio trickery. It's like it everything is mixed and like not drenched in reverb or shit like that. It all sounds like very organic.
Yeah, that I guess that stuck out, like knowing it was a mid '80s album, and
Right.
and like I binged the entire discography at work today, and like,
Wow.
and so you get that.
You
Like,
don't have to do that, but
No, no, I do. But you get like such a transition through 5 albums. It's like pretty remarkable for
Yeah.
under 10 years to go from like it's not even generic. The first album, it's quite an interesting album, I thought. But the change,
Yeah,
and this
this-
is a nice midway point where there's the experimentation and like space that the later ones have. But
yeah, this
the,
record
like,
is definitely a
great bass
pivot
and
for what they would head towards on those last 2 records, which are just like completely polar opposite of the shit on their earlier records, where it's
jazz. It's like a pop band that ended up playing jazz.
yeah, it's
essentially.
very jazzy and post rocky, and yeah, it's good shit. But yeah, Happiness is Easy has this like it has this great drive, and like the introduction of all the hooks coming in and out are all really well placed. There's like really cool little acoustic guitar licks that sort of are sprinkled here and there. Really awesome upright bass shit. And yeah, just the like happiness is easy, you were, said that very sardonically. It definitely has that feel of
like withering kind of. It's like sort of aspirational, but in like a cynical.
Yeah,
way.
there's a couple songs that are like that where I can't really tell if he's actually serious with the aspirational message or if it's sort of tainted in its own way.
If he's having a goof.
He's having a big old goof.
Well, daughter, how was school today? I sang on a song, Father.
What was it called?
Happiness is easy, Father.
Can you sing it for me?
Happiness is easy.
Go to your room.
Let's eat tea.
And scene. Yeah, we don't know what tea is here in America, so if anyone listening in the UK could tell us like what it is it a food? Is it a drink?
If it's a food, please text *662, and if it is a drink, email us.
Please call Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, I don't want to die alone from that like ring-esque curse.
Yeah, we are all cursed for real right now. Holy shit. Well, we might as well make the best of it. Jim, what was your least favorite track on Talk Talk's Color of Spring?
My least favorite track is going to be Living in Another World. That was Christopher's favorite song because it's 7 fucking minutes long. And that's what bothered me about it.
I do have an attention span, I can listen to long songs.
It was I never doubted that, but I just knew you don't like it. No, sir. He doesn't like it. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed for a 7-minute song, it just seemed like there wasn't. You said there was a lot going on, but I just feel like it was really repetitive. And there was some nice bass work going on there, but that's really all I kind of got out of it.
Yeah, I see where you're getting at. I actually thought that there was quite a bit going on, but I'll share my thoughts later on that. Christopher, what was your least favorite track?
Looks like Jim/Tim and I are at odds tonight because my least favorite was I Don't Believe in You. Again,
It's one of those nights.
Yeah, it's one of those nights. Although I'll come out and say it's a least favorite situation for sure. Oh Jesus, he drew a halo over a picture he drew of Mark Hollis. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a least favorite because I enjoyed this album. Actually, out of everything that you have picked for this show so far that I have not already heard, this is my favorite.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. This is the first that I've genuinely really been into, and I'm looking forward to hearing again.
Yeah.
So
good
yeah,
shit.
I Don't Believe in You, but definitely a least favorite and not a song I didn't like.
Yeah. It's kind of got a lot of 80s pop flavor on it where it leans a little bit into cheese territory. I
Yeah,
think.
but
Chris and Jim with the polar opposites tonight.
Yeah, I know it. We're like
We're gonna have to fight in the parking lot after this.
yeah, we're like yin and yang.
You're probably gonna win because I can't really breathe and I have gout.
Yeah, but I had McDonald's earlier, so if you
Oh,
punch me,
all
I
right.
might shit myself.
Okay.
Oh man, this is
But to
quite a bum fight.
to your point though about the cheesiness, they actually avoid that a lot in this album,
Yes.
which is fucking insane when you think about it. Because "Life's What You Make of It," for example, has like a good amount of gated reverb all over those floor toms, and it doesn't sound like 80s.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that it's using one of the most hallmark production techniques of the 80s that will immediately date stamp something, it doesn't sound it.
Yeah, that's something that's super striking about this record is it manages to sound like an 80s record without like falling into too much of the pitfalls of an 80s record, especially a 1986 when they were throwing Fairlight and like Elisa's reverb on everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me that this was recorded in the 80s, I'll buy it, but I'll think it sounds like a really good sounding 80s record.
For sure. Matthew, what was your least favorite?
Again, like not it is a least favorite. I think it's a strong album overall, and like the variety is super appreciated. But I do think the second to last track, Chameleon Day, was like, a little meandering. It was short, mercifully short, but it's kind of a curiosity, which is fine on an album like this, but doesn't stand out.
So that was going to be my other pick, and the reason that I went with I Don't Believe in You over that is because this was just short, and it was just a break in an album that otherwise didn't really have a break. Like, everything was like these monoliths of like 7 minutes of a song. So I don't know. That's why that's why I went with another song over that, but I totally get where you're coming from.
I'm not going to throw it on a playlist. In that sense, I guess, not like a favorite track. But yeah, I think we see it the same way. And
here's a good challenge. Let's make like a Spotify public playlist and just have it include like Chameleon Day, like Negative Ions by Tool. Just like all of those like interstitial tracks that everyone always skips. Like get some hip hop skits in there.
Oh no. Good God.
Fucking Tree Fingers.
Yeah, it's called fucking Tree Fingers, by the way. It's sorry, Radiohead.
Do you know
that's just what it's called?
Do you know that Tree Fingers is actually a edited version of that track, and that there is a longer one available?
Oh, I mean, just what we all needed.
I thought you were going to say it was Tom York taking a nap on the synthesizer. He just fucking passed out.
Tree fingers down to tree toes.
I really like Tree Fingers.
No, it's not bad.
No, it's a great
I
record.
like it better than Hunting Bears.
I really like Hunting Bears.
You fucking would.
Yeah.
So back to Chameleon Day. Something about that track. So on the subsequent records, they explore a lot of like elements of space, like just spacing things out and like creating these like super stark atmospheres to sort of lend its emotional weight to things. And Chameleon Day, I think, was like an early example of them exploring that. There are sections where it's effective, but there are definitely parts where it's sort of like, what's going on there? You guys awake? My least favorite track was Living in Another World as well. And it's just that. It's a least favorite track. It's
The same thing.
Same exact thing. And it is because of the length. It is a bit longer than I'd like it to be. It also, the production on it sounds the most like a mid-'80s record. It's probably the one that dates it the most. It's got like just a little bit too much reverb for my taste on it. That's kind of nitpicking. And yeah, the arrangement, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of really cool modulations that are happening with just the way the verses and the choruses are arranged. But it does sound a little like it's a little bit too much and not really what, kind of goes against the sort of impressionist spaced out vibe of the rest of this record. But it's a good track. And I actually really, I enjoyed it a lot more on this listen than I usually do. So there's that. So what are we on? We're on MVP moment, right?
Sure are.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. What was your MVP moment, Jim?
I'm going to go with the guitar solo in Give It Up. But I enjoy the fucking the guitar dive bombs there with the reverb. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's similar to the "I Don't Believe in You" guitar solo, where it just just kind of like fades in and out, and it has like just the right amount of crisp and feedback on it to make it sound alive.
That's interesting because I'm also going to go with Give It Up. But I'm going to go with the dobro because that is one of the finest uses of a dobro I have heard on a record. Chords that it plays when it's kind of by itself is like really stark sounding, and I kind of like actually looked up at the speakers when I heard it.
Yeah.
But then as soon as everything came back in, it made a lot of sense. And yeah, you don't often hear dobro used as anything but like a curiosity or just like there's one in the studio, so let's throw it on our album for no good reason. This is one of the few times where I've heard it and it actually just fit in really well and helped with the mood of the song.
Very cool. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a lot of great stuff on that track, sonically. Matt, what was your favorite moment, MVP moment?
MVP moment. The couple times I listened to this, the end of the album stood out. I mean, it's like a little cheesy, but I like that cheery, just like very simple pop progression that closes.
Oh, the very end of Time It's Time.
Yeah, it's like
I love that
like
too. The flute
scoots along, and it's nice. And the bass comes in and it's strong and sounds really good, and it's like a good way to resolve sort of a murky experimental album with like a cheery outro.
That song is it's a trip. It's like it's 8 minutes long, but it takes a few kind of crazy turns, and like it starts off like kind of very muted and unassuming and very kind of synth poppy, and then it like goes into these sections that kind of sound like Sisters of Mercy or something. Yeah. And then there's like what are the Ambrosia Choir or something. Hold on, I gotta look up that credit real quick. Yeah,
it's the parents of those dim-witted British children.
So actually, the choir that sang on that song has some. They have a pedigree as well.
Well, daughter, it turns out that I was recruited to sing on a song as well, called Time Is Time.
And now it's my time.
That's wonderful, Father.
So the Ambrosian Singers, they were the London choral group that sang on that Time It's Time track. So they were founded after World War II in England. And yeah,
so the voice I'm doing could be accurate for one of their singers.
That's very true.
Could be like some admiral that's like now singing.
Oh, for sure. Awesome. For sure. Someone from the Greatest Generation. So yeah, and they sang on, they were on Empire of the Sun, Krull, Chariots of Fire, Children of the Stones, and The Secret of Nim, as well as some Ennio Morricone films. And here's tie it back to Jukebox Zeros right here. Lils, I hope you're listening. They do the introduction
Lils,
vocals.
if you're listening, come on the show. We'll review Love Beach.
So they do the introduction vocals for the song Inside by Stiltskin, which is, of course, the Scottish band that featured Ray Wilson, who would go on to sing for Genesis on their worst fucking album.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
Ray Wilson.
Yeah, that's a really good get to find that sort of connection.
Everything always comes back to fucking Ray Wilson. It's my turn. Oh yeah. So my MVP moment is there are quite a bit, and the thing I love about this record probably the most is the use of hooks kind of coming in and out, and I'm gonna go with the acoustic guitar stuff in I Don't Believe in You.
promises so golden. Years have proved them wrong. I'm trying to live some self-respect.
Just the changes in the chords are just like, they're super tasteful, but also like it's like B note pedaling, but like doing these changes on top that just give it this really nice texture over it, really kind of mournful sound to it. And also, and Steve Winwood's organ is fucking badass in that song too. I didn't know it was him, but I've always loved the organ changes in this song. They do like a really nice sort of harmony over the melodies and like add these tensions that are really fucking cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. Fabuloso, man, we are moving right along. This is a quick show.
It's because I'm not drunk.
Yeah, see, we're not drunk, and Matt actually like did research before the show and like came prepared.
Oh,
which,
no, not that prepared. Like, I'll ask questions
more than
or
most.
whatever.
I love that you're praising him by showing scorn at previous guests.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Fuck you, John Sassor.
But to
He's definitely listening.
to actually attempt to stretch it out like a little bit, do you know more about Mark Hollis? Like, he seems to have like one of these interesting artist trajectories of like creating great music probably in his 20s and 30s and then dropping off for the rest of his life essentially. So
what happened was so they put out Talk put out Spirit of Eden and Laughing Stock, which like the recording sessions for Laughing Stock were particularly like very harrowing, and like the producer Timmy there like suffered a nervous breakdown from those sessions just because of like the sort of like there's like
Steve Winwood being in the room.
He was not in the room, unfortunately. He would have brought a little levity to the situation. No, it was like Mark Hollis was doing crazy shit, like locking himself in a room with no clocks in the dark and like trying to write lyrics by candlelight and shit like that. And it's just like the whole vibe was like very intense and like trying to create this artistic vision and like really just like going way too hard into these like minute details and like it just sort of like, everything had this like very weird, depressed vibe to it. So after they put out that record, obviously it didn't chart or do fucking anything because there's like no songs. There's no singles on that record.
Or songs.
No, it's like 4 9-minute tracks or some shit. So after that, he retired from music until 1998. Mark Hollis put out a solo record called Mark Hollis, and actually the first track on that album is called The Color of Spring.
Oh, God, I was really hoping you were going to say it was Mark Hollis.
Mark Hollis.
With his hit song Mark Hollis from the album Mark Hollis.
And was he like an elder statesman who like showed up here and there? Or is he like a recluse essentially?
He was a recluse after, so he came back, 7 years later to put out this solo album, which by the way, it's a beautiful record. It's very jazz influenced and like kind of chamber pop and just like super mellow shit. And then he retired from music right after that for the rest of his life. Didn't do anything else until he passed away actually like a month or two ago, which R.I.P. Big guy.
Pour some out.
He wasn't that old either, was he?
Yeah, he was like in his early 60s or something. Yeah. Anyway, happiness is easy. Did I already give my MVP? Yeah, I already did.
Yeah, you did.
You sure did.
Let's talk about comparable records. What do you got, Jim?
Comparable records. Well, I mean, I kind of hinted to this when we started. I'm going to go with Pink Floyd's 1987 Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Interesting.
Which is funny because it's a slightly newer album, but infinitely more 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
Stink Floyd.
Nice.
Get it? I'm just kidding.
Roger Waters, is that you?
No. No, I haven't been hiding in the corner here for the chance to besmirch the name of Pink Floyd.
Give me my pig back.
He's slowly turning into George Gaines from Punky Brewster in Police Academy.
Oh, Punky. Oh,
I don't care for the Pink Floyd fraud.
Or Israel, for that matter.
Jesus.
Yo, he said it, not me. Christopher, what do you think?
Mine's going to be After the Snow by Modern English. Came out a few years before this, and kind of has a similar reputation, I think, they do to Talk Talk, where they're remembered for like a hit that they had. And
They're Melt With You, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. And then the
That
rest
song
of the...
from the M&M commercial.
No, that's the... With This Is the Day. This is the day.
No, there's an M&M commercial.
There's a Burger King commercial with Melt With You,
Yeah,
too.
no, it's using a ton of shit. But
Yeah.
the point is, they're known for that, but the rest of the album is actually significantly better and significantly more
Chocolate
interesting.
melts.
Not in your hand. Not in your hand. It doesn't melt in your hand. They never would have picked that song.
You ever boofed an M&M?
The hell does that mean? Does that mean
shove
shove
it
up your ass?
Yeah, that's boofing something, yeah.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah, that's the term.
Okay,
Boofing.
so...
Boof. To boof.
Raising my hand here, I got a couple questions. First off, why
I
do you
got a
know that?
great
And second off,
story.
why is that the first place you went to when we were talking about M&Ms?
Well, you said melt in your hand, and then I was like, what can I say that would be sillier than the mouth?
Ah, okay.
So I heard
Put
this,
it in your butt.
I heard this joke when I was in like third grade, and
here
so
we go.
these three guys get stuck on a desert island, and they find this lamp and they rub it, and the genie pops out, and the genie says, "All right, you know, I'm gonna make you guys work for this." He's like, "I want you to go find one type of fruit." And and you're gonna shove it up as many up your ass, and whoever shoves the most up your ass gets a wish.
Listen, my brother had the Truly Tasteless joke series in his room. I know this one. But continue.
So the first guy goes, he finds cherries, he fits like 50 cherries up his ass and passes out.
From cherry poisoning.
The second guy,
Too many cherries,
the
man.
second guy found like peaches, and he's
Why are you doing stone fruits?
and he's sticking them up his ass, and all of a sudden he starts cracking up, and the genie's like, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" He's like, "Look at the third guy, he's coming back with watermelons."
Because that's a big old fruit to put in your tuchus.
I like that just in the fiction that you have just given us. First off,
Who said anything about fiction?
the genie is calling the shots. Like, you rub the lamp and the genie's like, "All right, we're gonna start doing some ass stuff."
And the whole time I was telling that story, I was just picturing Will Smith as the genie.
So the first guy puts enough content into his rectum that he actually passes out.
Yeah.
For some reason, he does not get a wish. Like, that's not impressive enough for the genie. The second guy is forcing, as Patrick said, stone fruits up his ass, and then he just starts laughing. Like, that's the nature of this world, where, like, the guy sees watermelons, and as he, like, shoves another very large fruit up his ass, he starts laughing.
Yeah, I mean, a peach is not a fun thing to put up your ass or to laugh while you're doing it.
No,
You would-
like, that's the thing. Like, I would probably be in tears if I was putting peaches up my ass.
So I think there's actually more of a story to this joke. I don't think it's a genie. I think it's like a one of those like farmer's daughter sort of situations where like the guys were punished or something like that.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I was in fucking third grade, Patrick. I don't remember this.
I like that this is the level of intensity your third grade jokes were at.
Oh yeah, they were bad.
Yeah, same situation.
Trying to think of some other good third grader jokes.
Oh, that could be a new segment.
Yeah,
Every
third
grade
grader
jokes.
jokes.
Third grader jokes from Jim Schultz.
Yes, I like that idea.
I like it too. Come back next week with some more goods. Matthew, what was your comparable album? Did you think of that?
It
Tough guy?
It was tough. Yeah. Tough. It was tough for me, a tough guy, because like I don't have a huge depth of sort of familiarity with like 80s stuff, but
Sure.
something that did remind me of sort of thematically more is like a Yola Tango record, like I don't know, like Painful or Nothing Turned Itself Inside Out or something, like something that has these like a lot of driving bass songs that sometimes go like 7 or 8 minutes, and some are very mellow, and then others like have a lot of sort of drive and
I can see that.
like drum energy behind them, but tend to be simple drum patterns too.
Yeah.
They're like very focused on just pushing the songs along.
I have very little familiarity with Yola Tango, but from what I've heard, it is pretty groovy, and I could see that for sure. So I had a couple in mind. The first one I'm going to go with is going to sound kind of strange. It's Anita Baker's Rapture, which came out the same year, which, of course, is the R&B singer who sang the classic Caught Up in the Rapture. And I picked that because it's an album that came out the same year that has a lot of jazz influence in it, and but it's still like very much a pop record. But also the production on that record is like super clean and not like overly reverbed and 80s sounding, which I always thought was like really classy. And then actually I was listening to Fleetwood Mac's Tango in the Night the other day, and I was hearing like bits and pieces of like, you know, kind of like clunky percussion and like acoustic guitar, you know, coming in and out, and just like really, there's a lot of really cool arrangements on that record in particular. And it's not as good of a record as Color of Spring, but it is probably, like, besides Rumors, one of my favorite Fleetwood Mac records. But yeah, there's a lot of like, yeah, really cool arrangements and like great pop melodies and shit like that. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
I've gotten like 30 new likes on my Instagram in the last like 24 hours. It's kind of weird.
Oh, yeah?
And they're not like spam accounts either.
You posting anything new?
No.
Just old pictures.
Yeah.
Just jokes about shoving cherries up an ass.
Yeah. Cherry's really good for gout, by the way, just in case you were wondering.
I mean, like as a suppository or
no,
like...
I think you got to eat it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, let's rate this. What do you got? What do you got, Jim? What do you give this?
I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the effort. I can tell there was a lot of work put on this album, but it's not my cup of bread. I'm gonna have to give it a 6.
That's fair.
There was
doesn't slam enough.
It doesn't slam enough. I mean, there were some cool things that were going on, but there wasn't enough cool. It wasn't enough Joe Cool for me, so it's gonna get a 6 for it.
Fair enough, Christopher.
I'm going to give it an 8. Excited to listen to this again, and I could see this going up in score.
Oh, I forgot. I got to add something to my 6.
Oh, please, by all means.
I will. So you all remember the movie Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
When Cameron Fry calls the principal. And
was this Ferris Bueller's Day Off or
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Big Adventure?
That doesn't exist, does it?
Ferris Bueller's Ferris Bueller's First Christmas.
How did I miss this? There was more Ferris Bueller movies?
Yeah, it's the one where Matthew Broderick killed someone in his car in Ireland.
Oh, it was 2 girls, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
That's been coming up a lot lately for some reason.
Well, good. He shouldn't fucking have gotten away with that.
It's a meme page, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What happened? Do we?
It was just reckless driving.
Yeah.
And like he wasn't used to being on the wrong side
Ted
of the
Kennedy
road and
dirt.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even that because he wasn't even drunk. It was just driving too fast.
I mean, that's a scary place over there.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, so when Cameron Fry calls the principal and he says, "Call me, sir, God damn it," that's what this guy sounds like.
All right, yeah.
I could picture Cameron Fry in that voice singing this album.
That's very good.
That's fair. Very, very nasally.
Pardon my French.
All right,
You're an
so
asshole.
you gave it an 8, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Matthew, what do you got?
Cool. I'm gonna fall between them. I'm doing a 7. I really liked it a lot. For my taste, like I don't necessarily have the patience for some of these songs, like for throwing on.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a really strong album, and I love a lot of the bass work. I think it's like some of the best 80s bass kind of dance, or not dance, but like kind of grooving bass that
For sure.
I've heard, and especially that first song, the stand-up sounds awesome. And
what's his name? Paul Webb, I think, is the bassist.
yeah, that sounds right. So yeah, and I mean, I left a little like, I don't know. I think the themes were cool, but I didn't hear the lyrics too much.
Right.
But I think the general repeated motifs were kind of left a lot of space for interpretation, and that worked well for for the songs. So
Yeah, for sure.
Was today your first time hearing Talk Talk?
I know the No Doubt song, like that's pretty much where I was coming in at.
Fucking cover, yeah.
And, that's your starting point. You get like a bit of the aesthetic and you're like, okay, so it is like that 80s dance sort of thing. And
yeah.
Then, taking a gander through the discog, you can see gets a lot deeper than that. And even the early stuff is deeper than that, I think.
Yeah, they were always like pretty good with like the composition, and I think they just, discovered different ways of interpreting their visions and shit as time went on. I don't really know. I want to give it an 8 because I really do enjoy this record, and I loved it right away the first time I heard it. I think someone recommended it to me like 3 or 4 years back, and it was one of those records that kind of made me want to start doing less rock type music and exploring just like more impressionist pop, if you will. Like playing around with different poppy melodies, but in kind of weird arrangements and playing around with that. And yeah, it definitely has a mood and a vibe to it that's very, you feel it. I can't really quite put my finger on it, but I identify emotionally a lot with whatever the hell is going on all over this record, like musically and just thematically and the way it's arranged. And yeah, I really like the way the record is arranged too, where you open up with Happiness is Easy, like giving you a really strong sense of what to expect, and then closing with kind of on like a lighthearted note at the end of Time It's Time. Yeah, it covers a lot of different moods, and yeah, it's good shit. I love putting on this record when like a plane, when I'm on an airplane and it's taking off, and I'll throw on Happiness is Easy, and like as the fucking drums are kicking in, it's fucking cool. I don't know, going off into the big sky.
I always when I'm taking off on flights, I feel like I try to get it the right type of music, but the truth is I'm such like a nervous piece of shit when I'm flying that I'm sweating as I look out the window and try to enjoy the thematic moment.
Yeah. I spend the first 20 seconds on the runway going, all right, all accidents usually happen within the first 5 minutes of takeoff or right at landing. Here we go.
You'll know soon. If it's going to happen, you'll know soon.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the sky, it's going to take a lot longer for you to hit the ground. So it's like,
so you think
you're fine for a bit.
You think some fucking Sully hero in the cockpit is going to make sure that you're all okay?
The worst part, the worst part of falling out of the sky at 35,000 feet is I'm going to throw up the whole way down. Like that's the worst part.
That's not possible because the contents of your stomach would be voided before you hit the ground. So you'd probably be dry heaving after a certain point.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Just because I get motion sickness so easily, I just be...
Well, how was it that time you had that fucking 10,000 foot drop when you were flying?
I was sick for the rest of the flight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you actually get
I didn't
sick?
throw up, but I came close.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that altitude dropping.
Yeah, for those playing at home, last time I was flying back from Vegas for work, I'm sitting there and I can't sleep on planes, but I was exhausted, so I was actually trying to sleep, and I almost got there. And as soon as I almost started drifting off, the pilot dive bombed the fucking plane 5,000 feet in 10 seconds.
With any warning?
No, because what happened was we got caught in what's called a mountain wave because we were going over the Rockies.
Oh, okay.
So it's the jet stream making a wave as it hits the Rockies.
Got it.
And the plane got caught off, and it was literally surfing on the fucking.
That's insane.
So it was pushing it down and then pushing it back up, and I was just like, I'm gonna die.
My usual thing is
it's funny because you didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, he didn't. So that's why it's funny, and I made a joke about it.
But I mean, you guys know I fly fucking everywhere. That was probably the scariest moment I've ever had on a plane.
For sure.
Fucking drinks were hitting the ceiling and shit.
Yeah, one of the times we went to Iceland when we were approaching, there was so much turbulence that this is my usual metric. Look at the flight crew. The flight crew has been through a lot more than you ever will.
Yeah.
And if they don't look nervous, you're good.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's a good metric to have, I think. The flight crew looks nervous, and there were people giving each other worried looks and clasping both hands together because the turbulence was the worst I've ever been in a plane in my life.
I would have thrown up.
We were just like, okay, yeah,
So
there's an engine going on.
The flight attendants were cool, but when the pilot, like when he realized what was happening, he had to think quickly. So he quickly came on the thing and he's like, "Flight attendants, take your seats immediately, please." I was like, "Jesus fucking Christ!"
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So Patrick, what was your rating?
8. I'm gonna go with 8. Yeah, I was thinking about 9, and then I went back to 8. I think the Spirit of Eden, which is the next record, gets a 7 for me, and Laughing Stock would be a 9 at this point. But yeah, I give it an 8.
Cool. So that gives us a 7.25 cumulatively.
Word, awesome. Well, Matt, thanks for coming on the program.
Oh, wait,
Thank you.
whoa. We
yeah,
can't
there's
release
some
them just
kind
yet.
of other
Oh wait!
thing.
He's. We got to play the game.
We've got some unfinished business.
it's
right here.
time to play the game.
Yep, it's time to play. What the fuck is
That was
Brett
Triple
Buchanan
H,
talking
wasn't
about? Yeah, we should come up with a name for this. What the fuck is Brett Buchanan talking about is all right, but I think we can do better. All right, so anyways.
What's flowing out of Brett Buchanan's ass this week?
So this is an actual headline from the news
Come on
source
the show.
alternativenation.net. Again, I strongly recommend that you let me be the only person who clicks on these links so that we're not giving them any extra ad money.
Yep.
Here is a headline I'm going to read to you, fellas, and I want you guys to tell me what the meat of this story is actually about. All right, headline. Gavin Rossdale reveals drug he used at Red Hot Chili Peppers show.
Oh, this was. Are we doing the circle thing?
Yeah, I like
circle
the
jerk,
idea
yeah.
of doing a circle thing, and everyone kind of does their thing, and I'll pick the closest.
Okay, me.
And don't just name a drug. Give me like some kind of scenario behind it too. I don't care what it is.
All right. So Bush was playing in Cincinnati, and because he was in Cincinnati, he got a really bad headache, so he popped a couple of Advil.
Okay, I'm going to remind you that the headline is Gavin Rossdale reveals drug he used at Red Hot Chili Peppers show.
Flea was in the audience.
Good enough for me, and definitely good enough for Brett Buchanan's reporting. Patrick.
All right. I mean, I feel like that's pretty cut and dry right there. Red Hot Chili Peppers show. Like, we have to assume that they're performing at this show, right? It's not just like they're present in a particular situation, like they showed up to something.
I will agree with you that the wording for this headline is not very tricky. That is neither a hint nor anything. I'm just agreeing with you with what you just said.
Okay.
Without giving any information.
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna guess it was like Gavin Rossdale like ate some CBD gummies at a Red Hot Chili Peppers show at the Fort Collins Food Fest. Which I'm not sure if they, yeah, I'm not sure if Red Hot Chili Peppers paid that show, but I want to think that they did.
All right.
This guy, who's this guy?
Gavin Rossdale, the singer of Bush.
Bush. Okay.
Yeah. He's got a
Formerly
machine
married
head.
to Gwen Stefani.
Gwen Stefani, who sang "It's My Life."
Yeah, originally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I guess then I'll have to, like, why would anyone care? He's such an adult at this point. Like, why are they asking this? I guess he probably took something, like, interesting.
That's an assumption that you could make.
It's an assumption I'll make. I'll say, like, fucking DMT or some shit.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he did that at a show. The guy from
Just
Bush.
listened to Joe Rogan yesterday.
Okay. So I'll read the headline again once more before I tell you what actually happened here. Gavin Rossdale reveals drug he used at Red Hot Chili Peppers show. So I think what's really misleading about this is it's not a Red Hot Chili Peppers show so much as they're referring to Woodstock 99. Which was many bands' shows, particularly his own, because the premise of this is that he claims he smoked his body weight in weed before going on stage to play.
Wow.
Boring.
That's a lot. Gavin Rossdale's he is actually a lot heavier than he looks. He's very dense. Like he looks like a trim, maybe 150-pound,
Built like a brick
dude,
shithouse.
but he's actually he's close to like 400 or 500 pounds.
Oh yeah, easily
altogether.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have this thing where I don't like to see the stage or the crowd before we play a show. That's what he sounds like. So I remember walking out onto that stage for the first time, being absolutely blown away. I don't remember where we stayed that night. It's hard to remember when you spent the night, when you smoked your body weight in weed.
Is he even British?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Didn't you hear the voice?
Yeah, I guess.
That sounds just like him. Gavin, are you here?
But no, yeah, Gavin Rossdale reveals drug used at Red Hot Chili Pepper show. It wasn't even during their goddamn set.
But this is breaking news.
Oh, it's not breaking. This is just this website, Alternative Nation. This is the kind of shit.
But it's recent. I mean, it's like somewhat recent.
The revelation is recent.
Oh, yeah. The revelation is recent. Yeah,
it's a reveal.
And important.
Yes, this was published today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the one we were talking about earlier where it was like, Tool drops news of new album, and then the article's actually like, Tool updated their website today. They changed the font.
Well, here's another one. I'll give you another one. Jim will really appreciate this one.
Okay.
Tool major Metallica bombshell revealed in leak. And once again, Tool major Metallica bombshell revealed in leak.
That is horribly written.
Very badly written.
And like, isn't it just like, I feel like it's the same group of words as another article.
Tool is being used as an adjective there.
All right, I got this
Yeah,
one.
that's what I'm confused. Is Metallica an adverb or what?
No, it is. I'll give you this. It is referring to both bands. There is a picture of James Hetfield alongside a picture of Maynard James Keenan.
All right, fair.
All right. Little Lars saying that the Tool album is going to come out this year.
Okay.
So get over it.
Okay. I mean, that would certainly work for this headline for Brett Buchanan. Patrick, what do you got?
Could you read it to me one more time? I'm really fucking lost on the syntax.
I mean, you and me both, brother, and I read the rest of this. Tool major Metallica bombshell revealed in leak.
Tool major Metallica. God, it's missing a couple prepositions, I feel like. Tool major Metallica album leak. What was the... All right, one more time, please.
Tool major Metallica bombshell revealed in leak.
All right, so whose leak is it? Is it
That's
a Tool leak?
The
Is it a
choice is
Metallica
yours
leak?
and yours alone.
Is it Julian Assange? Like, who leaked? Who's leaking and who is leaking onto who? Is what I need to know. We don't know.
Tool major Metallica bombshell revealed in leak.
Okay, so the leak might not even be there.
All right, we
either of
stayed
theirs.
an egg timer now.
Yeah, no, we need an answer from you.
All right, sorry. All right, I'm sorry. Tool reveals that Kirk Hammett lent Adam Jones a wah pedal for the recording of this album. I don't know.
Okay, I mean that's logical enough. You got anything?
It's a tough one. Yeah, well, like what would they be doing? Tool major Metallica, so Tool is less important. Let's not spend too much time on it. I guess just like I don't know, they collaborated on a song 10 years ago.
All right, so I'm going to ask that you all refrain from making any noise until I conclude this paragraph.
Jesus.
I got my groan ready.
He can't even say it with a fucking straight face.
I don't know if I can say this first sentence without laughing. Tool have hired a website designer who works with Metallica as they prepare to release their long-awaited new album. A fan has leaked on the Tool Reddit after viewing the relaunched website's source code.
Oh my god.
The phrase "Tool has hired a website designer" I didn't think I would be able to get through it.
What?
So there's your leak.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Brett Buchanan. I hate it. Matt, thanks for coming on the show. This has been a real hoot. So what are you up to? You'd say, what's Dave's up to these days?
Dave's is not. I mean, you know, I talk to Devin here and there. He's making music like he always does.
I saw him a while back.
I think he's popped a few things here and there on the internet, and like nothing major, but always good. And go revisit any of his stuff. It's awesome. And Me? I don't know. Just kicking around, playing music. Hopefully I'll get some kind of band camp together someday. I don't know. We're doing a show, aren't we?
Yeah, we're playing. Smell is playing on 6/22 at Uncharted. Might as well drop that bit of knowledge now.
Yeah, that's a.
And actually, all four of us are in the band, aren't we?
Yes.
That's pretty incredible. Christopher's going to have some good stuff. I'm not going to reveal anything else. Don't worry.
I got very nervous.
Don't worry. And yeah, other than that, I mean, check out Smell on Spotify and Bandcamp and the rest and all that shit. I don't know. What else am I doing? I don't know. Jim, what do you got going on?
Not too much. Patrick came down last weekend. We had a nice time. He was 4.5 hours late because he drove down to Fairhaven thinking it was next to Attleboro to buy weed from the weed store. And they didn't sell weed to the public, so he drove all the way back to Hudson. And then he drove to Attleboro.
What day did he decide to do this on?
4/20.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't foresee any problems there.
No.
But I think I really upset
The
him.
line wasn't bad.
I think it really upset him when I was like, why didn't you just go to Fall River? Because Fall River has a weed store, and it's like right next to Fairhaven.
Yeah, and I was looking it up too because I could have sworn that you said that it was in Fall River too, and then like I looked it up and it said it was only medicinal, and then like Gina was like, oh yeah, maybe he just got it like at a prescription for his gout or something. I was like, all right, I don't know.
I like Dr. Gina Shaggy. About my gout.
I like the idea that you're using your goat as like you using it as like just an excuse for everything. Use it.
I share all your deepest secrets
I'm just gonna
with
go
my wife.
Punch a random person on the street. And go, what? I got gout.
Yeah, weaponize that goat.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything going on, but listen to the other shows in the Zero Science Podcast Network. You know, your Nickelbackins, your Jukebox Zeros, all that. And we got a new show actually that I'm going to be doing the first season for called Discography Deep Dive coming out soon. And I think that'll be coming out next week. So that should be fun. Season 1 is going to be a several episode long arc on the history of Radiohead. So
awesome.
Should be fun.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Very cool. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. And I know I said it was the afternoon when we at the top of the show, but it is now.
I mean, it is afternoon.
Yeah, it is afternoon.
Technically, it's afternoon until midnight.
It's always after or before noon at some point.
We gotta go sleepies.
Especially me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Matt.
Yeah, sorry we postponed this like 5 times, Matt.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
but
it
we did
kind of proved how open my nights are. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine too. That's okay. I can do that.
All right.
Glad we made it work.
Want to come do this tomorrow? I mean, we might as well just do it again.
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow.
Do a take two?
Yeah.
See if we can get some better jokes. I just cut all the good jokes together. It'll be great.
Tomorrow's the last night of my bowling league. We're fighting for 6th place, guys.
Oh, that's good news.
Dude, that's no good with you and your condition.
That's true. It's been rough.
Are you going to bowl like a little kid, like with the ball between your legs?
I might have to.
Don't feel bad because I do that as an adult.
I think a few people do.
I look you will look like a fucking pervert because you do this.
I mean, the league I'm in is great because it's like it's just fun. And there is like a 90-year-old woman in our league, and she bowls strikes like all the time.
Dude, so my mom has Parkinson's, and she's in a bowling league. Well, it's not really a bowling league. It's basically like a Parkinson's group up on the North Shore that they do like all sorts of different like physical therapy type things and everything like that. And they do bowling weekly. And my mom can now like outbowl anyone in my family.
Nice.
Yeah. Like my mom who has Parkinson's can outbowl anyone in my family, which is insane.
I think I've told you, so Emily's dad, John, he lives up in Maine during the week because he works up in, I think he's in Portland, but he's got nothing to do up there, so he just bowls. And he'll bowl like 14 fucking games in a row. Not frames, games.
Jesus. Wow.
And he'll just be like, oh, my arm hurts.
No shit.
My arm's got gout. Oh, man. Good shit. Well, thanks for listening to Old Men Yell at Cloud on the Zero Science Network. Check out other shows on the Zero Science Network on wherever you get your podcasts. Sure. I'm Patrick, and
I'm Christopher.
Podcast! See you in hell.